it was called Something Nasty in the Cauldron. Ah! Screamed the hooligans, the murderers and the grims, the bog bugglers, the silence, the bashamucks and the other tribes of the archipelago, stampeding around the banqueting hall like panicking water buffaloes as the white hand stretched towards them. Ghosts and ghouls, breathed Stoat the Vast through white lips, born out of the cocking pot. Snaggletooth jumped right into Gobber's arms and appeared to be climbing on top of his head. Vagabond the Beerelly attempted to climb under a bench and jammed there, tight as a cork in a bottle. Fascinated horror, Hiccup fixed his eyes on a second outstretched hand, white as coral, and crusted with an unidentified grey-green slime of some sort, as it shakily reached out of the cauldron and grasped the edge of the rim. And slowly, up out of the cooking pot there rose a human head, as paper white and grinning. Oh, there's something nasty in the cookie pot. As a skull, and as the figure rose higher and higher, they saw it was the figure of an old woman with long white hair and half-blind eyes, covered with a thick grey layer of scum, and a nose as sharp as the point of a knife. "A ghost! A ghost! A ghost!" screamed the Vikings. But the old woman was skinny as a skeleton, and her grey breastplate and long white robes and malevolent expression were exactly the type of thing you might expect a ghost to be wearing. Hiccup was peering through his fingers now, and he let out a gasp as he suddenly realised this wasn't a ghost at all. In fact, it was something considerably worse than a ghost. It made an undead warrior ghost from Valhalla look like a fluffy little kitten on a play date. Still so painfully white, so drained of colour, that Hiccup could barely look at her. The bones so close under the skin that it was like staring straight at a skull, flapping fingernails tipped with iron. "Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear!" exclaimed Hiccup in horror and surprise. "It's Alvin the Treacherous's mother!" Wow, might Hiccup be horrified and surprised, for Alvin the Treacherous's mother was a thoroughly unpleasant and powerful witch, and Hiccup had thought that she was dead. If she was alive, that meant that her son Alvin was too, and this was very bad news indeed, for Alvin the Treacherous was Hiccup's arch enemy. "Do you know this ghost, Hiccup?" asked Hiccup Stoat the Vast in amazement. "It's not a ghost at all," said Hiccup. "It's Alvin the Treacherous's mother, and she's a very dangerous witch." "It's not a ghost, guys, it's only a witch," yelled out Mogadon the Meathead in relief. The dripping witch slithered her way out of the cauldron. In front of their astonished eyes, she scuttled across the hall on all fours like a dog or a wolf, her iron fingernails clicking on the stone floor. Oh, it sent a shiver down the spine to see the way she moved, like a beetle or an evil thing, and not like a human at all. She sat on the chair at the head of the table. She tipped her head to one side, waiting for questions. She got them. "Madam," bellowed Stoat the Vast with a strong sense of injury, "you owe us an explanation. What on earth are you doing, popping out of cauldrons and frightening us at this late hour?" The witch's voice sent chills down the spine, something between a hiss and a whisper, with just that edge of evil to it that makes you sit up straight and check that your soul is still intact, and that she hasn't sucked it out of you while you weren't looking. "My name is Excelenor, and I am the castle's witch." "I do not like," said the witch, her voice as dry as ice, "either to pop into or to pop out of cauldrons." Don't like the witch, Excelenor. "However, the castle was invaded by dragons of the most dreadful and dangerous kind. Fishburne and his Splashburn and his warriors were defeated, and there were no survivors apart from myself, for I had the foresight to creep inside this cooking pot and hide myself just in time." Hiccup looked round the room. No flame marks, no overturned chairs, no blood, no sign of a struggle of any sort. She lied. But why would the Vikings not believe her? They had just had the most terrible and bloody battle against road dragons themselves. What was more natural than that Flashburn and his warriors had been carried off by these very same dragons? Uproar in the banqueting hall, cries of "Carried off by my trousers!" and "We must avenge!" "But why?" asked a bewildered Grimbod. "Why is this happening? What is going on?" The fit witch's half-blind eyes gleamed. "Someone has set free the Dragon Furious from the black prison of Berserk, and he is bringing a dragon rebellion that will kill us all," hissed the witch. Gasps of horror from the Viking tribes. "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear! So that was the Dragon Furious who attacked us on the cliff," thought Hiccup. What you have seen in those dragons is the coming of the Red Rage, said the witch. And what, asked Eric the Vast, not really wanting to know the answer to this question, what exactly is the Red Rage? The Red Rage is where the dragons mass together in a pack to hunt down their prey. No quarter is given, smiled the witch, who said no. The only aim is to hunt down every man, woman and child until they become extinct. Silence in the banqueting hall as the tribes tried to take this in. Doom! Screamed the witch, her voice the spine-jangling scratch of nails on a blackboard. Doom has come to the archipelago. Nonsense, blustered Stoic. The dragons are just getting a bit frisky, that's all. And your son, whispered the witch. For he is the one who set the dragon free, she said joyfully. Oh, brother, ask your son. Ask your son. It was a clouded grass of horror and hiccups to hiccups, utter cringing, burning embarrassment. All the tribes of the archipelago turned round to stare down at him, tutting furiously and pointing their fingers and shaking their heads. Oh dear, how embarrassing. That was all it took. Only a couple of hours earlier, Hiccup had been the hero who had saved all the young warriors at the Battle of Angry Mountain. Now, in an instant, this was all forgotten, and he was the idiot who had put them all in deadly peril by setting free the Dragon Furious. Hiccups turned absolutely flame red right to the tips of his ears and wished he could disappear up the chimney. He spoke to the Dragon Furious, hissed the witch. Ask Hiccup for Ed's hadn't heard what the dragon said to him about the rebellion. What did the dragon say, Hiccup? Stoic turned to his son. Well, I've been trying to tell you that for ages, Father, Hiccup burst out, squirming uncomfortably. The dragon said we have 1 year before he returned to wipe out the whole of the human race. Ah, that's important information. But that was such a long time ago, and the year passed, and I sort of hoped that maybe he'd forgotten about it. Another terrible silence. Stoic the Glass made a noise like an exploding kettle. Most fathers would agree with his frustration. How could you possibly keep something like this from me? The extinction of the entire human race? I'd have thought that was important enough to mention in passing. I did mention it, but you're always too busy to listen, Hiccup pointed out miserably. Okay, we'll have to have the rest of the chapter tomorrow. Well, I'm sort of on Hiccup's side. He did try and tell Stoic, but Stoic wasn't listening. Anyway, we'll have the next chapter tomorrow.